What's happening, Bills Mafia? Ryan Thomas here, back again for another episode of the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. Buffalo Bills pregame show, another matchup, another week, another pregame show, and of course that means another postgame show for you guys to tune into tonight, probably around 7 or 8 o'clock per usual. I like to hop on here at nighttime and recap the Buffalo Bills game. We got the Bills on at 1, of course, against the Miami Dolphins. And, of course, we have the Buffalo Sabres on at 4 against the LA Kings. They're on their West Coast road trip, taking on the LA Kings at the Staples Center. And it's been a fun week off for me. You know, as far as week off from the show, I've been very busy at WLVL in Lockport, working the radio station there on Saturdays. And it's been a Saturday mornings, I should say. And it's been a fun run for me there in my first few weeks. I've been really enjoying, starting the radio career and obviously continuing the show off the, in the studio, in my house, talking to you guys and getting your takes as well. So feel free as I, give my opinion and my take on this Buffalo Bills pregame show to let me know, how do you feel about this game today against the Miami Dolphins? It's a big one. Being that the Buffalo Bills are coming off the bye week here with a ton of fans feeling like this is the perfect opponent for the Buffalo Bills to face, coming off of that really tough and heartbreaking loss in week 6 to the Tennessee Titans. A loss that, it seems like when the Bills lose, they lose in just gut-wrenching, heartbreaking fashion. And I'm hoping that we can continue to see, the Bills be on the up and up, coming off of that loss with a solid, rock steady win over the Miami Dolphins. The Buffalo Bills heading into this one 4-2. The Miami Dolphins heading into this one 1-6. So tale of two cities, two teams. One team is on the up and up, coming off of a tough loss, though. Another team in the Miami Dolphins are still in that rebuild mode, still not really getting over the hump of that rebuild this season. They had higher expectations than that of a 1-6 start through the first 7 weeks this year. And a lot of those expectations were put on the shoulders of Tua Tagovailoa, who missed some time due to suffering an injury at the hands of A.J. Epinesa in the last battle against the Buffalo Bills. That time, of course, to start the season in Miami. That's where that one went down. This one, Buffalo heading back home to Orchard Park, New York. And a huge question remains for the state of the franchise, whether or not the Bills will actually call Orchard Park home for much longer. I've heard of quite a few campaigns getting off the ground here to keep the Bills, to put the Bills actually in Buffalo. I'm looking forward to seeing and hearing more about those campaigns, in the area, within the community. But they've already been loud. They've already been noticed by myself. I don't know if Buffalo Bills fans have noticed it just yet, but it seems like this is starting to really gain some footing among some people with deep pockets that want to put the Bills in Buffalo, in downtown, as far as the new Buffalo Bills Stadium. I want your thoughts on that, Bills Mafia. Let me know what you think as far as the Bills being in Buffalo rather than Orchard Park. What's your take on that? How will that affect the tailgating experience? How do you think it'll change things? I'm curious myself. I want to hear your thoughts because I really don't have a preference either way, but it's something that I definitely want to hear thoughts on. So Buffalo Bills fans that are tuning into this show right now on Facebook and YouTube, the Thomas Take Sports Podcast, whether you're tuning in on Buffalo Bills Facebook groups that I'm a part of, I greatly appreciate the support. Greatly appreciate hearing from you guys each and every week. It's been a fun season thus far. It has had its fair share of tough weeks as far as those 2 losses. They stung, but we've had 4 solid weeks as well to get us into the win column with a 4-2 record here heading into this one against the Miami Dolphins. I'm going to give you guys my keys to victory for this game that I'm greatly looking forward to today. It's nice to be playing at 1 o'clock on a Sunday again. I want to state that for the Bills fans. I am one of those Bills fans that wants to see the Bills playing at 1 o'clock each and every week. I like it. I like the prime time, don't get me wrong, but I guess I'm old school in that regard, that I just simply want the Bills to be playing at 1 o'clock on a Sunday. There's nothing like it. I feel like that's where true football is seen. It's just how football was supposed to be played. 1 o'clock Eastern time on a Sunday, Western New York, Orchard Park, New York, a rainy, drizzly day in Orchard Park, as well as all throughout Western New York. So let's get right to it. The keys to victory for this Buffalo Bills game. I have a special segment on the show today as well. Who is the one player that I'm putting the spotlight on for this game against the Miami Dolphins? We'll start off with key to victory number 3, limit the mistakes and force mistakes. I think Miami's best chance at winning this game is forcing Buffalo offensively to make mistakes. Buffalo has to keep those mistakes down. They didn't make too many mistakes against the Titans, but I will say in wins this year or losses this year, Buffalo's slow start in the first quarter or even in the first half, leading red zone drives that result in field goals rather than touchdowns. To start last week, 2 drives offensively that resulted in field goals against Tennessee. That can't happen, shouldn't happen. Buffalo's offense is far too potent, far too powerful for that to happen. So in this one, if Buffalo can actually put those points on the board early, touchdowns on the board early, I think this should be a smooth sailing victory. But if Miami can force Buffalo to attempt field goals early on in the game, that is something that I want to keep my eye on, and I think Buffalo Bills fans should keep their eyes on for this game. Limiting our own mistakes, forcing mistakes from Miami. Miami's offense is a hodgepodge of new players that they've acquired over the last 2 seasons under Brian Flores as the head coach, who I've always been a fan of. I like Brian Flores. I just wish he didn't coach the Dolphins. I don't like the Dolphins, of course, for obvious reasons. But Miami is starting to somewhat find their groove a little bit offensively. Not as much as they would like, of course, to a 1-6 start, but I do like what I've seen from rookies Jalen Waddle, Myles Gaskin as a running back to keep our eyes out on. Buffalo has had a tough time stopping the run, especially against running backs that can break at first tackle on first contact. Myles Gaskin is one of those types of running backs, a very polar opposite running back from that of Derrick Henry. He has a low center of gravity, loves to break that first tackle, and loves to stay low, whereas Derrick Henry, of course, is this tree of a man that just wants to run as many people over as possible. But Buffalo's run defense is something I'm keying in on in this game. As far as offensively for Buffalo, continuing to have a balanced offensive attack. I've talked about it all season long. Last year, Buffalo's offense was fantastic in the passing department, of course. They're one of the best, if not the best, passing offense in the National Football League. But this season, I have seen more of a balanced offensive attack, whether it's in the run department, pass department. One week, Moss could have a good week. Another week, Devin Singletary could have a good week. It's actually something that I have enjoyed watching as far as this offense this year in comparison to last year, is that this has been a balanced offensive attack, and it's an offensive attack that I think we need to see a few new things from today to kind of coming out of the bye week here, to see coming out of the bye week here, what new bag of tricks on Halloween can Brian Dable pull out of his, goodie bag, I guess you could say, and happy Halloween, everybody. And last and certainly not least, key to victory number 1 for me is pressuring Tua. Tua is a quarterback that I've never been necessarily high on. Pre-draft a couple years back, I had high hopes that Miami would not take Justin Herbert and that they would take Tua. They took Tua. I was very happy about it. Calling a buddy of mine, shout out to him, Eric Ellis, calling him and saying, I cannot believe that they passed on Herbert over Tua. Now, I didn't think that Justin Herbert would have the first 2 seasons of his career that he has had, in LA with the Chargers. I didn't think he'd be that good, but I knew Tua was not the guy that people thought he was coming out of Bama. At the very least, he's not the same guy that he was at Bama that he is in Miami. A lot of those injuries are injuries that are extremely tough to come back from in any sport, let alone football, especially when you're a quarterback with a hip injury. It's much tougher to drive that foot off the, drive that foot in the ground and throw that ball. The arm strength is compromised. He's gotten it back a little bit here and there in spades throughout this season, but it's not a consistent power motion as far as his throwing motion. You don't see that consistent power within his throwing motion. So I think pressuring him minimizes that even more so than it already is. he's a compromised quarterback, in my opinion, and that's just my opinion. I know people will disagree with me on that, but I think those injuries that he suffered in college have changed him as a quarterback, and as an athlete, it's forced him to make some different decisions with the football. So pressuring Tua, we did it very well in the first matchup in South Beach against the Dolphins. Can they do it again? I think they can, and I think they will, but that's still my number one key to victory. If we pressure Tua, it'll force Tua to make mistakes, and this Miami team will be playing from behind virtually from the jump if we can get that done. Bills player spotlight. I'm putting the spotlight on one player. Shout out to him. This is the biggest game of his career thus far, and it is none other than Buffalo Bills tight end Tommy Sweeney, who has taken the spot that is given to him from a Dawson Knox hand injury that was suffered in that Monday Night Football loss against the Tennessee Titans, despite the fact that Dawson Knox had one of the coolest plays of the game, throwing that touchdown pass to Josh Allen. He did hurt his hand prior to that pass. Josh Allen saying, no, we don't need that play. Throw it away. We don't need it. Dawson Knox throws that touchdown to Josh Allen, comes off the field, and that's all she wrote for him, at least for the next few weeks. Tommy Sweeney had a touchdown in the game a couple weeks back against Tennessee, but Tommy Sweeney has a huge role to fill within this offense. As I touched on it earlier, with this balanced offensive attack, the run department has been seen more. But more than anything in the passing department, we have seen the tight end position be galvanized and seen more in this offense than we've seen in the last 5-6 years. Dawson Knox was phenomenal for the Buffalo Bills throughout these first few weeks of the season here, throughout the first 7 weeks of the season. Tommy Sweeney has a huge role to fill, and I'm very curious to see how they utilize him, as well as Reggie Gilliam at the tight end position. Gilliam can line up at fullback as well. Sweeney more of a traditional tight end. But a couple years back at St. John Fisher, while attending St. John Fisher training camp in Pittsburgh to tune into the Buffalo Bills youngsters, Tommy Sweeney being one of those rookies on the team, I was very impressed with Tommy Sweeney. I remember writing down the 5 rookies, 5 players, I should say, that are young players that I was impressed with. Tommy Sweeney was one of them. So I'm very curious to see how Tommy Sweeney plays and participates, and how will he take over this game? Can he take over in this game against the Miami Dolphins? The spotlight is on him. So let's get to some comments here. Keith Casey Atlas says 38-28 Bills. That's his score prediction. I like it. That's a lot of points, though, given up by this Bills defense. I'm going to go a little bit lower than 28. You'll get my score prediction in just a sec. But Dakota Ikailer, I hope I pronounced that right. Miami 6-0 Halloween night. I've been told. I believe it's Buffalo's day, though. Awesome. Miami 6-0 on Halloween. That's very interesting. I did not know that. Well, let's just say that they're going to be facing the boogeyman and Josh Allen, the guy with 9 lives, the Michael Myers of the NFL, Josh Allen in this one. And Halloween's going to kill. It's going to kill in Buffalo, actually Orchard Park, New York. I want to get to some more comments here as well. Gene Hoffman says the Bills need to work on red zone and QB pressures. I completely agree. Talking about that a little bit earlier. Early red zone opportunities have been converted into field goals and even in wins for Buffalo. You go to that big win over the Houston Texans, and obviously Houston's not a good team, but a win is a win. And early in that first half, Buffalo was not converting those red zone opportunities into touchdowns. They were converting them into field goals, even against Houston, even against Washington, against 2 really bad teams, which I'm hoping over the course of this bye week, we've been able to somewhat figure that out, figure out those initial steps that we need to take as an offense early in the first half for this Buffalo Bills team. So I'm going to give you guys my score prediction. Obviously, the Bills player spotlight, Tommy Sweeney, as I stated, but my Buffalo Bills score prediction for this Week 8 battle against the Miami Dolphins is Buffalo Bills winning 35-10. I think this defense is actually going to show out today. I think the offense will be given more than enough opportunities to put points on the board, and I think that this is a great matchup for the Buffalo Bills. Miami is just not quite there yet in terms of going tit for tat with the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are just a far better team, and I believe the Bills are going to win this one big, get to 5-2, and then next week we have the Jets in East Rutherford, New Jersey. The New Jersey Jets and I'm going to try to get CJ DeSimone, who is a Jets podcaster, on the show. I've loved to have guests on the show each and every week. A guest each and every week on the show is always my goal, but I got to tell you guys, I've been so busy working my tail off, running down a dream, trying to put myself out there a little bit more in a lot of different ways. So I hope you guys appreciate just tuning into me today, this morning, this afternoon now, 12:05 p.m., a time check for the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. Buffalo Bills winning this one big, 35-10. Very excited for some Sunday 1 o'clock football, the way it's supposed to be played. I'm Ryan Thomas, of course. You tuned in to the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. Go Bills. Enjoy the game, everybody. Happy Halloween. Stay safe out there. Taking your kids out trick-or-treating. Try to get that Snickers. Try to get that Twix. Try to get it all. Try to get as much candy as you can. You only live once.